Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Turf Wars by Gadabout Games.
Turf Wars is a tiny little game. If you haven't already seen that, I mean, it's only yay big. And it's strictly for 2 players, in which you are competing to have the best yard, trying to sway the neighbors in the neighborhood to your side. And this is a head-to-head game. It takes place very little footprint, as you can tell. It is running on Kickstarter right now, so make sure to check out that Kickstarter link down below after you watch our video. We're going to go over how this game works, come back, share our thoughts on it, and help you decide whether this is something you should back. All right, I have Turf War on the table here. Let me go ahead and show you guys this game. I do also want to make sure to let you know that this is not the final product, that it is subject to change when it is released after the Kickstarter is complete. And do go ahead and check out the Kickstarter campaign page after you have watched this video. You can see that this is a small, tiny box in comparison to the game here. It does take up much more room than what it might give the impression just based on the box. In this game, 2 players are going to battle it out to have the best lawn and trying to sway these different neighbors to their side in order to get the most points to win this game. How this works in more detail, players are going to choose whether they want to be home or away at the beginning of a turn. And if you are home, you will place this card this side up, and you'll be able to play a card from your hand and possibly sway a neighbor at the end of your turn. If you choose to go away, you are going to gain 5 coins because you're going to work, and you are able to buy a card from the store. So those are your 2 options on your turn, home or away. So let's explain these in more detail. If you choose to be home, you can play a card from your hand. Well, players start with the exact same 3 cards in hand, and they're tool cards. Tool cards are going to be orange. They're going to let you do what it says on the card, and you would play this on a particular section of your 3x3 grid yard. And so, for instance, I could use the watering can, and I might play that right here. And what the watering can does is it allows me to turn dirt into grass, which is very important because in order to play most of the cards in the game, you are going to need place icons. And that's what that little green plus sign means, that there is now a place for me to place something on top of this grass. Plus, it also is going to give me 1 point at the end of the game. Any tools that you do end up using on your turn are going to go into your garage, and you put these actually face down. And you won't be able to get these cards back until on a future turn when you have decided to go away, and on the next turn you decide to come back home. You have to flip the card from away to home in order to get any cards from your garage back into your hand. Now the last part here says sway a neighbor, and so on that, what that means is these neighbors, which are ultimately the main things you are trying to gain throughout the course of the game, they're going to have certain requirements, such as Florence here. Florence wants 5 places in a yard. And so if you are able to be the first player to get 5 places in a yard, you might be able to sway Florence to your side, and she's worth 5 points at the end of the game. Another example is Arthur here. Arthur wants 2 shopping cart type cards, which are these solar panel gray cards. Solar panel is just an example here, but it is a type of shopping cart card. And then some of the other cards might be different, such as Edith here, who wants you to get a card that is worth 6 gold or more. And so that's an example of swaying a neighbor to your side. Now let's look on the other side here. If you choose to go away, you are going to gain 5 coins. And what that looks like, you've got a piggy bank card here with 0, 10, 20, 30. This is double-sided in case if you go beyond that. And you have a dollar bill here, which keeps track of single digits. And so I gain 5 coins. I would move this down to show that I have 5 coins. And then it allows me to buy a card from the store. So this is the store here, and there's always going to be 5 cards available for you to purchase. And the cost of the card is listed here on the top right. So if I wanted these, I'd have to pay 5. And any cards that I buy go straight into my garage. I won't be able to use them immediately. I will be able to use them on a future turn. Let's talk about the different cards real quick. Green cards are going to be the ones that give you more places. And again, you have to have a place on an area in order to be able to play anything first. So for instance, I have this grass here. I could be able to play a tomato patch in the grass. However, I would not be able to play a tomato patch on the dirt. You need grass before you can plant things. And as I already mentioned, tomato patches are going to have start actions on them. And so at the beginning of your turn, if you have any of these icons, it's going to allow you to do these actions at the beginning of a turn, such as trashing this tomato patch to be able to gain 5 extra coins. You do also have, as I mentioned, shopping cart cards, which are going to let you gain extra abilities throughout the course of the game. Now, this particular card here says when you work, you gain an extra $5. So instead of getting only 5, you would get $10 if you had the solar panel. So that's very nice. Now, the next 2 cards are a little different. Tool cards, I've already mentioned, they let you do certain things to areas. You don't have to have place icons in order to play tools. So I could play this on dirt, just like I did with the watering can earlier. And then the last type of card are pest cards. And so pest cards are purple. They are going to allow you to attack the other player doing something negative towards them. You can also play these straight on dirt. There does not have to be a place for that. I said that was the last type of card. I lied. There's one more. There are blue cards, and these are very, very important. These are going to be the things that allow you to get points throughout the course of the game. Some of the neighbors are going to ask for certain types of blue cards to be in your yard in certain arrangements, such as this one here says 1 point for every card in this column. And so these are your columns, obviously. And you will want to try to place these on top of your place cards. And so you are going to purchase 1 card, again, putting it in your garage. And as I've mentioned earlier, you won't gain any of the cards in your garage until you return from home. Now, one other thing that I didn't mention about these pest cards, in order to play them against your opponent, they have to be away. They cannot be home. So there's some strategy here in picking when you want to go to the market and work and buy things, and when you want to stay home to protect your turf from the other player. The player who's able to garner the most points once all the neighbors have been selected is going to be the winner, and that is how you play Turf War. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. All right, we're back. And now we're going to share our thoughts on Turf War and let you know a little bit of what we thought about it. So, Sam, this is a tiny little game. I don't know that I've seen so many cards in such a little small box here.
Yeah.
Such a small little thing. But it's an interesting little game. What were your initial thoughts on Turf War?
I mean, just as how small it is, it really does. It takes up more of a footprint than you would expect. Still small, but it is a full game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I first saw it, Lance had already set it up. So I'm actually surprised to see how small it all fits in, because it didn't feel like it would be this small. There are quite a bit of cards. It's a real game. It's not just a little, card game.
It looks like it would be a filler game, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a game
not
in
a filler
itself.
game. Yeah. And so all these little cards, you're building your yard, you've got things in the market that you can buy, you're making the choices between staying at home and working. How did it all work for you?
Like the end results?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about the end results?
Well, we don't have to talk about how poorly I did, but just talk about maybe what your thoughts and feelings were on this game.
I honestly thought I wasn't doing very well, because Lance was able to turn his dirt into grass much better than I was. I ended with quite a bit of my squares still being dirt. But I was able to stack my cards, I think, better than you, which gave me a benefit. And then I had a card that took cards away from him.
Yeah.
And there's just certain cards where you can really get a step up if you pay attention. But you also have to get the points to buy the cards. And then you have to figure out what the neighbors are looking for to like your yard. And it really is pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely layers to this game that you really have to think through as far as, getting your yard started so that you can start doing things in it.
Yeah.
But then also trying to make sure your neighbor's not running away with too many things. So you want to keep an eye on that. And then obviously you need to try to sway the neighbors to get the points. So, I mean, there is quite a bit to have to think about when it comes to this. As far as that goes, Sam, did you ever feel like it was overly complex or complicated, too much maybe for a non-gamer?
No, I don't think so. It's a lot going on, and I think we wouldn't play it with the kids. But it definitely still basic enough for a non-gamer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. These are pretty basic concepts as far as gaming goes. You've got drafting as far as, trying to get things out of the market. You've got hand management going on here. And there's even a little bit of tableau building with your yard, which is just cool that they've combined all of those different elements. And I think they do it really well with the way these cards interact and work together. For me, maybe the most complex part of this game were how some of those cards work. There were a few cards that we came across that were maybe a little confusing the way they were written. And it does take having to kind of look at the rule book, which is not very thick. It's not a thick rule book at all. It's a little pamphlet, actually. I mean, obviously, look how small it has to be. And there are some icons, too, that we needed to reference to the back of the rule book to make sure we knew exactly what they were doing. But other than that, this is a pretty straightforward game and not too hard to understand. As far as, strategy and gameplay wise goes, Sam, like you already mentioned, you had an easier go of that than even I did in this game.
But I really didn't realize I did until the end. And then I was all of a sudden getting a lot more neighbors than you were. But I had no idea what my points were until the end. I had no idea I was going to beat you by that big.
Hey, we're not going to go there.
Big of a gap.
We'll just say that Sam was much better at this game than I was. I was not very good at this game at all.
It can be a high point game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're good. But that being said, this is one that I felt had lots of fun built into it. As I've already said, classic mechanics here that work really well, which for a gamer is going to give you a good time, I feel like, because they do those mechanics so well. Sam, you as a non-gamer, I take it you had a lot of fun with this game.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's just a small little thing, so it's not that hard for you to just stick this in your pocket or a bag or whatever, take it wherever you're going to go. And you and another player, are going to have a good time with this. Now, it does say 20 minutes on the box. I felt like our games were a little longer than that, but that could just be because we were getting to learn the game and new players at it.
Yeah, I think maybe a second time would be a little
Once you get to know it and understand the game more, then it probably is true to that 20 minutes, but that was kind of our experience. So ages 13 and up, I think that's probably pretty accurate. Mm-hmm. Like Sam said, we didn't really play this with our kids because I feel like it would probably be some concepts that might be a little too much for them. But definitely great for us. We had a good time with Turf War, and it is on Kickstarter right now. So make sure to check out the link down below. Gadabout Games.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.